Hello and welcome to the topic Traveler's Diarrhea in the module Gastroenterology and Hepatology. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define traveler's diarrhea, discuss the pathophysiology of traveler's diarrhea, explain the clinical presentation of a patient who presents with traveler's diarrhea, outline the investigations in the diagnosis of traveler's diarrhea, and finally discuss the principles of management of traveler's diarrhea. Let's get started. Traveler's diarrhea is defined as the passage of unformed stool, one or more by some definitions, three or more by others, while traveling. It may be accompanied by abdominal cramps, nausea, fever, and bloating. Occasionally, bloody diarrhea may also occur. Other terms that can be interchangeably used for traveler's diarrhea also include traveler's dysentery and tourist diarrhea. So, what causes traveler's diarrhea? It's caused by drinking water or consuming food that has contamination with bacteria, viruses, or parasites. Most traveler's diarrhea is from bacteria, and diarrhea from viruses and parasites are less common. So, food and water contaminated with fecal matter are the main sources of infection. Bacteria such as enterotoxigenic Escherichia coli, or also known as E. coli, Campylobacter, Salmonella, and Shigella are common cause of traveler's diarrhea. Parasites and viruses are less common etiologies. Bacterial, viral, and parasitic infections can cause symptoms through bacterial sources represent the most frequent etiology. And the most common bacterial cause, as mentioned earlier, is enterotoxigenic Escherichia coli. What happens here is it develops an inflammatory reaction causing destruction of the intestinal mucosa, either by cytotoxin release by the pathogens or direct invasion of the mucosa. And loss of mucosal surface now leads to a decrease of absorptive abilities of the intestinal mucosa, hence causing increase in bowel movement or diarrhea. Traveler's diarrhea is considered to be defined as 3 or more loose stools in 24 hours or a twofold increase from baseline bowel habits. Symptoms include formation of unformed stools, having fever, and abdominal cramps. Other signs to look out for would be abdominal tenderness, any signs of dehydration, probably presence of fever, as well as loss of skin color due to the changes in hydration status. Patients should be asked about any blood in their stool, fevers, or any associated symptoms as informed earlier. When we look at investigations now, we'll be typically examining stool studies, looking at stool culture, perhaps the fecal leukocytes, lactoferrin levels, and they also should be assessed for ova and parasites in patients with longer duration of symptoms. Blood investigations such as electrolyte panels and a full blood count can be done to look at the predominance of cell lineage as well as any dehydration or abnormality in the electrolyte balances. Last but not least, a urine FEME can be done, and this is also looking at presence of ketones in severe dehydration. Radiological studies are not always required in most cases. Kidneys, ureters, and bladder x-rays can be obtained to assess for acute intra-abdominal pathology or look for evidence of perforation in severe cases. An abdominal CT scan is more useful to assess the intra-abdominal pathology in severe cases. So antibiotics should be used to treat severe traveler's diarrhea. Azithromycin is preferred to treat severe traveler's diarrhea. Fluoroquinolones may also be used to treat severe non-dysenteric traveler's diarrhea. Rifaximin may be used to treat severe non-dysenteric traveler's diarrhea as well. Bismuth salicylate, 2 tabs 4 times a day, can be used for prophylaxis. The foundation of diarrhea management is essentially fluid repletion. So in mild cases, travelers should focus on increasing water intake. In more severe cases, oral rehydration salts can be used to ensure rehydration with adequate electrolyte repletion, and in severe cases, intravenous fluids may be ultimately required. In patients without signs of inflammatory diarrhea, loperamide can be used for symptomatic relief. The typical dose for adults is 4 milligrams initially, with 2 milligrams after each subsequent loose stool, not to exceed 16 milligrams total in a day. Traveler's diarrhea can be given antibiotics to take as needed at the onset of symptoms. So, other measures that can be done to treat traveler's diarrhea would be, depending on the underlying cause, obviously. For bacterial and parasitic infections, importantly prescribe anti-infective treatments such as antibiotics or antihelminthic agents if necessary, and prevent dehydration. Happens to be the main focus of viral diarrhea treatment. This means replacing electrolytes and drinking plenty of fluids. Among the complications that can set in if this condition is not treated adequately would be dehydration, malabsorption due to the inflammatory reaction over the intestinal mucosa, sepsis if there is translocation into the circulatory system, hemolytic uremic syndrome, and reactive arthritis. So, in summary, we understand that traveler's diarrhea is the onset of diarrhea formed 3 or more times compared to the normal consistency and nature, infecting the stomach and intestinal layer of the gut, and usually associated with travel. We have also looked at the pathophysiology and causes, how they usually present, what are the investigations that we could carry out to diagnose as well as to assess the severity of dehydration in patients, and finally, understanding the complications and preventing that from happening either by prompt response as well as medical therapy. We have come to the end of this topic. Thank you.